morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Kimberly Perez.
And I'm your host, Esther Ormsby.
So stay tuned. In today's segment, we are discussing the association between corporal punishment and young children's development.
Corporal punishment is a highly debated disciplinary method, as many parents have multiple opinions on whether they should spank their children. Some believe that spanking your child is harmful to young children's development and well-being, while others believe that spanking your child is necessary for discipline. Everyone has their own opinion and method for discipline. For some, it may differ between families, geography, and their culture. So what is corporal punishment? Well, corporal punishment is a type of physical punishment with the intent to cause pain or discomfort. It is argued that it goes against children's rights and can compromise their health and development.
In the journal article, Corporal Punishment in Earlyhood Child Development in 49 low and middle income countries, written by George C. Earlyhood childhood is a sensitive period of development where environmental stimuli can have a heavy effect on the brain and skill development, with long-term effects on an individual's social outcomes. On average, children exposed to corporal punishment in the middle-income countries were about 24 to 38% less likely to be developmentally on track in early childhood development index, 30% less likely to be on track on the social-emotional scale than children who were not corporally punished. It affects children whose social-emotional development result from low-income countries. Colombia focused on social, emotional, and cognitive skills or behaviors such as getting along with other children or getting easily distracted, instead of more comprehensive measures of child development. Evidence revealed that corporal punishment leads to slower growth of cognitive skills. However, some researchers have argued that corporal punishment may have different effects on children's outcome, depending on the social cultural context. Those who perceive corporal punishment as normative within their culture are less likely to process corporal punishment as threatening, yet evidence from different low and middle income countries like Colombia, Ghana, and South Africa indicate that children usually experience fear, distress, and process corporal punishment as a threatening experience. Similar to children who are spanked tend to exhibit physiological hyperactive responses to stress.
Research from the second journal article concluded that exposure to distressing experiences like harm or threat of harm to children, i.e. corporal punishment, can influence emotion regulation and threat detection. These predictions are consistent with findings from one study that showed that children who are spanked display heightened reactivity to stimuli towards an environmental threat compared to children who were not spanked. This means children who are not spanked are more likely to logically handle harmful situations, making them more aware of their surroundings and the outside world. Overall, many people believe that spanking their children teaches them to respect authority and prepares the children for the dangers of the world. Whichever way a parent chooses to go, whether it's punishment by spanking or putting them in timeout, there are multiple disciplinary methods to choose from.
So for today, we are going to turn it over to our interviewers who are out collecting research in the field to see what people think and how they feel about this.
Coming up next, let's take a look at outfield agents.
Hi, my name is Esther, and today I'm here with
Sandra.
And today the question I have for you is, what is your opinion on corporal punishment?
I don't think it's necessarily terrible. I just think it's okay when it's needed.
Needed?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have children in the future, if you do want kids, do you think you would use corporal punishment?
Like spanking or
spanking, like any type of punishment that involves physical force.
So I wouldn't do harsh physical force, abusing them or punching them. I would spank them or but I wouldn't do it with real force. I would do it as an act of punishment and as an act of discipline. But normally I didn't grow up with that type of even spanking. I never got spanked.
You never got spanked?
No. No. But I would be hit with a stick sometimes. That was just my thing, but it wasn't it was an act of discipline, and I would use that on my kids. But I wouldn't take it to a point where it's abuse. Okay. So I don't support that.
Okay, well, thank you for allowing us to interview you. And that
You're
will be all.
welcome. Thank you.
Did you know that approximately 60% of children worldwide between the ages of 2 and 14 are regularly subjected to physical punishment by their caregivers?
Hello, I'm here with.
Linda Soto.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your history working with kids?
Yes, so I am the Senior Vice President of Operations, and I have been with the Boys and Girls Clubs of St. Lucie County for 17 years.
Wow.
And prior to that, I lived in New York, and I worked for the Department of Social Services, where I investigated child abuse and neglect cases, and I did that for 15 years.
That's impressive.
Yes.
Very cool.
So I have a long, extensive history of case management, and I just enjoy what I do.
Great. Thank you. All right. How do you think punishing children can affect them in the future?
Well, depends on what you mean by punishment. or punishing. Punishing them by using physical force, physical abuse. It's never. I don't feel that it's beneficial because 9 out of 10 times they resent the fact that there's more resentment toward whoever is enforcing the punishment, where communication is always the more effective way to handle things, because if you use physical punishment or any type of punishment, that's a learned behavior, and then that could cause aggression in children and affect them more in the long term.
I didn't know that. Interesting. All right. What is your stance on? Well, you just kind of excited, like your stance on punishing children. You're not really with.
So I'm definitely not in favor of it. I've seen, again, talking about my history in work history, the effects of physical punishment, whether it's physical or emotional, or it's never a good thing, because you have your physical where it's beating, right? So that will cause a child to be more aggressive. If it's emotional, it'll cause a child to either go into depression, or think that it's okay to just say negative things about people. So that affects them socially. It makes them socially awkward, because who wants to be around someone who's just going to always bad talk or be negative. So for me, communication is the key factor, because you're not just saying, hey, this behavior needs to change and this is why it needs to change, and you allow that other person or the child to actually advocate for themselves as to why they are behaving the way they are. If and obviously at a very young age they're not able to communicate that, but we're the role models. So how we want our children to become is how we need to raise them.
All right. Can you share with us one of your cases that you worked on?
Sure. I've worked on a lot. One in particular was I'll speak of an abuse case. There's a young boy, he was about the age of 7, and was beaten pretty badly. The parent believed in corporal punishment and would use a belt. And so not only did it leave scarring of that child, so it was a constant reminder of the abuse or the beating that was received, but it also, as I just spoke on, that child had a lot of anger and aggression in their behaviors. But then when others, such as adults, would approach that child, they're traumatized from the beating. And so this child in particular would flinch or react, because that's what they're always expecting if they do something wrong, or, in that particular case, the child was removed from the parent. And the sad part about it is you watch them and they cry as a result of being removed from that parent, because although they don't like getting beat, that's what they know, and that's their family. And, so it becomes an accepting thing. And, so after time, the parent had gone in to, receive some counseling and stuff like that, but things improved and the child went back to the parent. But you just don't know, because what happens is, I don't know how he turned out to be as an adult, but you have these situations where it's just never a good thing.
It's heartbreaking to hear.
And there are many other cases, and to where parents just don't realize the damage that they do to the children. Because I had another situation where the child actually didn't survive the beating that was received. So,
Do you think that the children can mentally overcome this based on all the mental like abuse and
because I've been in this field for so long, I've gone through a lot of trainings and not only just have seen in my own experience, they can overcome, but many do not.
okay.
So it's just those who overcome it have positive role models in their life, and they usually cling to that positive role model. Others are just, that's normal behavior, and they become that violent or individual as they become older.
Right. And then the last question, what are other techniques you can use to teach a child what is right versus what is wrong? And then how can you do this without touching a child?
Okay, so everything that we do is we need to, we're constant role models. So if we behave in a positive way, in a calm manner, and have that level of communication with the children, they're going to replicate that behavior mostly, and that's if they're just surrounded by you. If they're surrounded by others, the kids absorb different behaviors from different people. So the best approach is really just staying calm. One of the things that I've always done is treat people like you want to be treated. So just having, as an adult, always having that consciousness of you're modeling behavior for children. So if you model negative behavior, and kids they absorb, they're sponges, especially at an early age. So, how you raise the child from birth up until, 6, 7, 8 years old, that's what they're going to become and instill in their lives.
So communication is key with kids.
Communication is key.
All right. Thank you, Miss Linda, for
You're
your
very
interview.
welcome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm back. Did you know that research has consistently shown that corporal punishment can be associated with negative outcomes, including increased aggression, antisocial behavior, and potential harm to a child's mental health?
And today I am here with
Daniela.
Today we're going to be discussing corporal punishment. So corporal punishment is basically when you use physical force for disciplining children. So what are your opinions on using corporal punishment when a child is misbehaving?
I think you could do it too if it's your own kid, but to an extent. It shouldn't be abuse.
And then the second question I have for you, did your parents use corporal punishment growing up?
Yes.
You did? Like what type of punishments were those?
They would take away toys, the belt.
The belt? So that was a type of form of corporal punishment?
Yeah,
was the belt?
If you were not supposed to touch something, they would slap your hand, something like that.
Do you think it affected you now, like in a way negatively or positively?
Not really, because I really didn't get in trouble. So if I got hit with the belt one time, I wouldn't do anything else.
You would do it again? So you think it's a good type of...
Yeah, but it shouldn't be like to an extent where you're hurting the kid, like abusing them.
Okay, well that is all I have for you. And
Last time you were going to see me, but fun fact, did you know that corporal punishment can damage the parent-child relationship and trust between the child and caregiver?
Hello everyone, Esteban here, all the way from Tammy Stewart. We're here with
Emily. Hi.
Miss Emily. We're gonna ask her some questions. All right, the first question is, were you spanked when you were younger?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on spanking kids when they misbehave?
I disagree with it. I don't think you should hit your kid.
Why?
Because, I don't know, I feel like it just makes them, like scared of you. It's like fear if you mess up.
Okay, so how would you go about disciplining your child if they misbehave?
It's kind of just explaining the difference between wrong and right, explain it rather than kind of like beat it into them.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
I hope this offered some insight on the topic, and I will leave you with one question. Do you think corporal punishment has a negative effect on children's development? Thanks for watching.
See you next time.